Oh, gotcha. Cool.
Well, through Apple News, I should say. Are we recording right now?
I just hit start.
Fair enough.
Do you want to talk about something that's not on the recording?
Maybe later.
Okay. But I mean, anyways, comes naturally. We are
Joe.
I am Cody. That's it today. It's us.
That's it.
That's all that matters. But anyways, yeah. So what do you got to talk about there, bud? Besides Neill Blomkamp's new movie, Demonic.
Well, the Neill Blomkamp thing, and I'm scrolling through trying to remember because I didn't quite save them, but they're in my history. Mission Impossible 7's filming has shut down due to a positive COVID test.
God damn it.
Right? I can only imagine how pissed off Tom Cruise is about that.
It's gonna be another. I wonder if they're gonna get another taped rant of his.
Hey man, I would assume that sounded like a pretty legit rant. You know, it really did.
Yeah, I mean,
because now that it's shut down, no one's getting paid, and that was his whole rant. If anybody tests positive for COVID, they're shutting the whole thing down for 2 weeks or whatever it is, and no one's getting paid during that time. So that's what his rant was.
Yeah, y'all just fucking shit up.
And so they had one positive test from what the article said, and so they shut down production. So I can only imagine that Tom Cruise is incredibly pissed. And somebody got fired, more than likely, because that was the other thing. He was saying, look, if we have to shut down production and all these people are going to be out of pay for 2 weeks, you're going to lose your job.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty reasonable to me.
Yeah,
Don't fuck shit up and cost people their jobs.
I would be like, hey, listen, you get a positive COVID and it's proven that you have it. It's not some bullshit. You have two choices. Either fire you out of a giant cannon or you're actually fired.
Right?
Your choice.
That's how Mission Impossible 7 ends. Just a dude being fired out of a cannon.
Aim for the moon. If he gets there, he gets there.
Damn it, they took my idea. Damn you, Tom Cruise.
Damn you, Tom Cruise, you son of a...
Very nice person.
Yeah.
So that was it for that one, actually. So we just covered that one.
All right.
The other one that you texted earlier that I had read the day before, or yesterday, or whatever it was, time goes weird when you're not doing anything, is the Mario Brothers fan restore of the movie.
Yeah, that's weird.
Which, by the way, I didn't realize. First off, when I initially read it, I just kind of skimmed over it and was like, okay, cool, I'll read about that later. And then I forgot about it. And then you sent that text.
You're welcome.
And I was like, oh, okay, there's a trailer for it. And so I hit play. And I'm like, okay, this seems like the beginning of a movie. This is weird. I let it go for like 30 more seconds before I hit pause. I was like, what the fuck? This is not a trailer. Oh, it's the whole movie.
The whole
I could really watch this, but I'm not going to. At least not right now. That's a movie that I'll watch, but I'm not going to necessarily enjoy it.
I mean,
enjoy it because who doesn't want to open the door, get on the floor, and dance the dinosaur, right? But also the beginning kind of looked a little janky, like it didn't look good. So I can only imagine what the added-in scenes looked like. They're probably pretty bad.
So the article explains the quality of the film. So the stuff that they're basically adding to it was shot on film but never fully processed.
Right.
So the best quality they could get is VHS quality. So they kept the whole thing that way, I guess. Because they don't have...
It looks so bad in the transitions.
Yeah. So they don't go, ho, 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 all of a sudden just ding, 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 back to it, you know what I mean? Not that anything could help that fucking movie be good.
I don't know. Apparently there's a stripper scene in it. I don't know, like a strip club scene?
Let's go.
Right? That's what the article had said that I went back and read more of. And no, there it goes. Where is it? Oh yeah, it says the film's original VHS level fidelity has been cleaned up and enhanced, which makes for a much nicer viewing experience. Movie soundtrack has also been re-edited to match the new extended scenes. So let's see, where were some of the scenes they listed here? So one scene is new scene features King Koopa, played by Dennis Hopper, seemingly murdering a technician by devolving him into slime, which I could have swore is actually in the movie. I could have swore that scene was in the movie.
I think so.
Right? Somebody gets devolved into slime, I thought.
Yeah, isn't it?
I know somebody gets devolved into a monkey at the end, but I swear somebody gets devolved into like slime.
Too, I thought so too.
At some point. Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it, I guess.
Guess I'll have to go back and watch it.
But the other thing is, if that's not quite adult for you, there's also a slightly risque nightclub scene which features less Mushroom Kingdom and more Liberty City. Feels like less Mushroom Kingdom, more like Liberty City type thing. So that's what I'm assuming, strip club type thing, you know?
Yeah. Mario kills a hooker.
Right?
And Luigi up the barrier. Chop her up.
Oh, Luigi, I did it again.
Not again, Mario.
Not again, Mario.
Hey, real quick. So Netflix canceled Jupiter's Legacy?
I'm sorry, what?
Yep.
Why? I thought they had already renewed.
I guess not. Yeah, it says right here, the series, which was based on the comic by Mark Miller, developed for TV by Stephen DeKnight, and most recently steered by Sang, whatever that name is, will end with the steep cliffhanger. And then a tweet by Stephen DeKnight says, "Sad to see the story come to a premature end, but I wish Mark Miller and Netflix the best moving forward. My deepest thanks to all the cast and crew who worked so hard on Jupiter's Legacy, and to all the fans, I am forever grateful."
So it must not have done the numbers that they were hoping it would do.
Which is, I mean, yeah, probably. But what's crazy though is they're turning it into an anthology show or a series. So they already announced Super Crooks, the live action, would be a tie-in to it because those two take place in the same world.
I mean, technically all of this stuff takes place in the same world, but right.
This one just takes place in the same, like, you know, fictional, these superheroes, these supervillains. So they're going forward with that because later this year, the animated version of Super Crooks comes out on Netflix. But Mark Miller announced that they're going to be doing a live-action version that is in the same television universe as Jupiter's Legacy.
It's weird and kind of dumb, I guess. But I guess if they've had everything already signed up for it, might as well. Which just probably means they're just going to do one season of each thing and then just be done with it if you're not going to have your tentpole show going. Right?
Yeah, it's very strange. Yeah, because I mean, I was talking about on my podcast that they had the animated version coming out. I didn't know they're doing the live action until this, like, I think this morning is what I read, or last night or something. But they have that, and then they have the American Jesus season 1 is, I think, done filming completely, wrapped in February, and so that's supposed to be out later this year. And I'm like, all right, well, cool, but what about Jupiter's Legacy? And I mean, this just shows they're not going forward with it for another. I mean, which sucks because that cliffhanger is like massive.
Yeah.
And now you have. I mean, I don't know. That's weird. Very shocking.
And why would you run a live action and an animated show of the same thing right next to each other?
I have no idea.
Are you going to tell two different stories? Is the animated one actually going to be geared towards somebody else than the live action one is?
I don't know. I mean, because both based on Super Crooks, and I don't know if it's the same one or Super Crooks. The live action's a different story, and the animated one's based on the comic. I'm not too sure. There's not a whole lot of details on either one of them. But I mean, that's a weird story.
I know that they've been doing animated versions of different things, but they haven't run a live action version alongside of an animated version of a property, as far as I'm aware. I mean, so it's just, I don't know. I guess I'd have to see how it is, but that seems really dumb to me.
It's very, very stupid to me. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird, but also just canceling it after the first season. I mean, what the hell?
And the only thing I think of is it just didn't do the numbers that they expected it to do, that they wanted it to do, and then they cancel it.
Okay.
But that's always what's dumb about Netflix, is that they never release what their numbers are.
Yeah.
So it's only speculation as to why, until somebody actually in the know comes out and would, leak it and say what happened. I mean, as far as I'm aware, there was no production issues, nobody being a diva or anything.
I do not know.
That's dumb. And that also disheartens me from actually watching some of the other stuff that they would tie into it then.
Yeah, it's like, what else do you mean?
Was Super Crooks actually supposed to tie into Jupiter's Legacy? Were you going to have crossovers at that?
I don't know.
And it goes back to that thing that I hate about fucking Netflix, is that they cancel things so wantonly that it's just like, I can't even really get into a show with them.
Yeah, it's a gamble.
Yeah. I still hadn't finished, because I was going through and watching The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I was like halfway through it, and then they were like, they finished the season, and then they finished season 2 or whatever it was. I was going through season 1. I was like, this is getting pretty good. And then they canceled it, and it's like, oh, fuck it. I'm not going to watch this.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have an ending. Why should I even bother?
Yeah, it's super weird.
Whatever. Whatever.
Nope, that's not what I was looking for.
Yo, did you see the pictures that are coming from that Pamela and what was it called? It's called Pamela Anderson, or Pam and Tommy. Yeah, Pam and Tommy. I was scrolling through Apple News, and I saw the picture, and I was like, why do we have a picture of fuck, what's his name? I almost wanted to call him Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee.
Yeah, Tommy Lee. And Pam Anderson, and in the article was like, no, it's Sebastian Stan and Lily James, and I was like, no, it's not.
Yeah, no, weird, right?
That's Tommy Lee and Pam Anderson. It's like, no, that's Sebastian Stan. I was like,
no. So you guys uploaded the wrong photo. Let me see that photo.
You're telling me that's Winter Soldier?
It's fucking nuts. I saw that picture and I was like, what the shit? Because he teased on his Instagram, like, I don't know, last week or week before or whatever, he showed him in the makeup chair getting like the fake hair put on, because it's not his real hair, I guess, or doing something to his hair. But then he, like, if you're not paying attention, you see his arm and it's got tattoos all over it, and I was like, oh, I see. Tommy Lee, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, and I saw that picture you're talking about when you can see his, like, stomach tattoo and everything. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That's a weird thing. That's a weird thing. But, whatever.
And Lily James looks like Pam Anderson dressed up as her.
Yeah, it's real unsettling.
Yeah.
It's like, y'all did
I don't know
a real
if I'll
good
watch
job.
this movie, because I really don't care about either of those two. But I will say that it looks like they cast, like, dead ringers.
Yeah, it's like, I said something similar about the I, Tonya movie. Like, cause I was like, I don't give two shits about, Tonya Harding or any of that. It's a really good movie. It's bonkers. The movie's fucking batshit crazy, but I mean, look who it's based after. You know what I mean? But like everybody in that movie is fantastic.
And that was like, Margot Robbie playing was
yeah.
it?
Yeah, Margot Robbie.
Tonya Harding. Yeah.
Hey, so Why Last Man TV show gets a Hulu release date of September 13th.
I will hold on to my excitement until it actually airs, because with that series, anything can happen.
I'll get a little more excited when I see a trailer.
Nah, not even a trailer.
Hold on.
It has to like be playing in front of me in order for me to actually be excited about it, because at this point in time, like, I could just imagine that they're like, okay, we wrap production and the world ends. And it's like,
nah, we're good.
Yeah. That's that. Yeah. So I will hold my excitement until it's literally playing on my TV.
I will hold my excitement until that trailer is playing on my TV and or phone.
No, because they'll release a trailer and there's still time for something to happen. They'll just be like, we've got some of it done. Here's what it kind of looks like. And there's still time for something to happen that's just going to be like, well, we had to shut down production because the whole cast got caught in a volcano and died. Yeah.
Well, that's not a good way to put it, but I mean, okay.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. All right, man. Well, I wasn't going to go that far, but, you know. Yeah. George R. R. Martin, get back to your fucking compound and finish your books.
Seriously, right?
Don't be.
From last I read, he was making progress on it.
Man, fuck that guy.
But of course, progress to him is like he probably finished like 5 or 6 chapters of, like, you know, his billion chapter books that he does, you know.
I wrote 100 pages. Bitch, your book is 1,500 pages. Get back to it.
Right. You wrote 1% of your book today, or less than 1% of your book. Get back to work. It's going to end up being like 1,500, 2,000 pages long, and his editor is going to be like, well, you can't do this. And he's like, I'm not fucking editing this thing down. You edit it down. And then they're going to sit there for a year and edit the damn thing down, and eventually turning it into 2 books. So we're going to have more than 1 book that is going to be released. Yeah. That's what's going to happen with this damn thing.
You probably ain't wrong. Ain't wrong. I just saw something else I was going to talk about, and then I accidentally hit the back button, and it went away.
Oh, no. There was the picture of Thor that came out on the set of Love and Thunder.
Yeah, the day they wrapped.
The day they wrapped, where he just has just the most ginormous fucking arms that I've ever seen him have.
It's fucking ridiculous, man. I'm like, Jesus, that's what happens when Fat Thor cuts weight, or what?
That's what happens when you have nothing to do during the pandemic except for upper body exercises. Because apparently, you see that shot, which I was surprised you guys didn't see. Like, I'm not on Instagram or Facebook or whatever else that he might be on. And I obviously don't follow him at all on anything. But to see that other picture that that Liam took, where it shows that he just has the skinniest fucking legs ever. And it's just like, yo, bro, you skipped leg day again? But his arms in this picture are just massive as hell as well.
Yeah. That picture's pretty funny. I was telling Paige, I was like, well, it makes sense, though, because the costume he wears covers his legs completely. But his arms are exposed, so I mean, might as well just get him jacked and let him fucking see some Love and Thunder. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Which sounds gross. Hey, did you watch that Hugh Jackman trailer?
Oh, I did watch that. Fuck, what was that about?
So it looks. Well, I don't know what the fuck it's about. To tell you the truth, it basically it looks like Hugh Jackman is going backwards through memories to figure out what happened to this lady that he's in love with, or thinks he's in love with.
Yeah,
I don't know. It was fucking trippy, but
now that you remind me what it was, to me, I took it as he's like, yeah, he has some sort of machine where you can relive your memories in the machine, and something happens to this lady that somehow he knows or knows people that knows, and he's trying to use his memories to figure out what happened to her.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Now I remember what that was. Yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah.
It looks bonkers. I don't know how it's going to be as a whole, but it'd be something I want to watch. Reminiscence. That's what it's called.
Yeah, I was like, that name is not a real word, I'm pretty sure.
And it's a weird world that it's in. It's not just that he's got this machine, which it seems like he's the only one that, at least the trailer made it look like he's the only one that has this machine. He invented it or something.
Yeah.
But for some reason, the world's like flooded.
Yeah, like, yeah.
I got that.
Yeah, because it was weird because like he's like,
the world was flooded.
He's like, when the water started to rise, and I was like, okay, because they show the beginning of the trailer shows what looks to be like New York or something, and it's like water is way higher than it should be, and I'm like, that's not good. And then there's that part in the trailer where he's walking on a bridge that's on the water, and I was like, okay.
So it'll be interesting, I should say, to see how that ties into the story, because it seems like you could literally just have the memory part of the story and not really need the city's half Bioshock.
Yeah.
So that has to tie into the story somehow, I would say.
You would hope.
Otherwise, it's just a really weird world that he lives in.
Real bizarre. How bizarre, almost. Yeah, I thought the trailer was pretty neato, and then I saw that it was Lisa Joy directed it, and I was like, oh, shit, okay. I'll watch some Westworld nonsense.
Right.
I ain't proud. Actually, I'm very happy to watch some more Westworld nonsense.
I never actually finished the last season of Westworld.
Oh, my God.
It just kind of trailed off to me. It just kind of got too...
fucking nuts?
I don't know, just... it wasn't even nuts. It's just like, to me, what was interesting was the stuff inside the park, and now we're outside the park, and it just became there's no mystery to it, really.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything.
There might very well be a mystery, I guess, but to me, they didn't feel like they were setting something up for a mystery. It just felt like, okay, we're just gonna. This is our episode. This is our next episode. What's her name is just trying to become a powerful business person and kill people.
Yeah, so you should watch it if you get a chance.
I mean, I have tons of chances. I could definitely start rewatching it or catch up with it, because I probably only had like 5 or 6 episodes left in the season. Whatever.
If you get around to it, just
If I get around to it, if I remember, I'll watch it and see how it is.
You let me know.
I'll let you know. The other trailers that we had this week, Demonic, which is the new Neill Blomkamp movie. Very wide departure from the stuff that he's done in the past. It seems like something more in kin with his Oats Studios stuff that he's done. A little bit more on the horror side, of the sci-fi horror type of thing, but this is like straight up like Conjuring type horror.
Yeah, shit was fucking nuts, dude. I don't even know what's in that. I can probably guess at some stuff, but I'm probably going to be wrong, because I saw people going into like a VR thing, and then like demons, but then like people being like affected in the real world. So I don't know what the fuck that is, but I was like, I don't even care. I just threw my wallet at the TV and I was like, give me tickets.
Right? Neill Blomkamp, just give me it now. Let me watch this.
You give me now, Neill. Cool thing too is it comes out August 20th, if I'm not mistaken, of this year, and it's going to be in theaters, on demand, and video on demand the same day. So if you don't feel that you would like to go to see it in the theater, you're dumb. But also you can just watch it at home, which is also cool too.
Which is probably what I'll end up doing.
Theater, bitch.
I want to go see it in theaters.
I'm gonna go see that shit in the theater, bitch.
All my friends go to the theaters on days that I have to work.
Bro, we went on a Thursday. You don't work on Thursday.
I work on a Friday morning.
That's
You went at
true.
7 p.m. We'd be out by 9.
Yeah. It depends on how long the movie is, but if we're talking about A Quiet Place, we were out by like almost 9:30.
Yeah, see, that's late. Some of us are usually in bed by then.
I only did that because that I had to work that Friday as well. So I was like, well, I can't do Friday, so Thursday it is. And it was
I
awesome.
thought there was one more trailer that we all looked at and was interesting.
Taj sent the trailer for Old, the new M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Well, okay, so I thought that trailer came out a while ago.
It did. So it came out last year. A tease
But
for
was
it.
this no? Because they did an updated trailer.
Yeah, they did an updated trailer that came out
I thought it was last week or week
the week
before.
of A Quiet Place Part 2 because we saw it in the theater that same day.
So it was like last week.
Yep.
It definitely looks very M. Night Shyamalan-y.
Yes, it does.
I know the original trailer I don't think really did too much to actually make me want to watch it. This one, though, actually makes it look like there's some sort of secret, some sort of mystery on the beach that could be definitely interesting. I don't think I really want to go see this in theaters, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I could get away with not being in theaters too. To tell you the truth
This is
about
definitely something that once it hits Netflix or any other streaming service, I definitely would watch. But yeah, I don't know if I want to go see it in theaters.
Yeah, I was like,
unless something more comes out and it just ends up being amazing.
yeah, I mean, I will wait to hear some news, but I don't know if I could say like, hey, let's go see this in theaters because I think it's gonna be awesome. It's like this movie could be complete garbage.
Yeah, that's like I still haven't watched his Servant. Was that the name of the show that he does for Apple TV Plus?
Yeah.
Servant. I know my brother watched the parts of the first season and says it's really weird, but there's just nothing that I really care to watch about it. It doesn't sound like it'd be a very good an interesting thing. So what I'm saying is his name doesn't have that much pull as it used to.
Yeah. I would say check out Servant, but it is definitely weird. Like there's no way around it. It's weird.
I know the premise behind it. I do.
Yeah. Okay. Then you should know
it's like it's they treat it the what do they call it, fake babies or whatever it is, like a real baby. Yeah.
Yeah, it's real bizarre. I would say it's one of those things where I will also say this. It plays better when you can binge watch it because it's slow, but not like, oh my god, please end this episode slow. It's just there's a lot of like little stuff going on, and there's like other stuff that they don't really tell you, but obviously that's what M. Night Shyamalan does. But yeah, the performances are really good in it. The weird fake baby is just unsettling, just in general. But everybody in it,
those are real
fantastic.
things you could buy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And no one should. I mean, there's probably some terrible stuff happening in your life. You need to buy one of those, but just don't, because those things are nightmare fuel for sure. Especially that one, because it looks like realish skin, and like it has eyes. It's very weird. It's very strange. I don't like it. Show's really good though. The acting's really good. I can't say the show's really good. The show is good, but the acting is where it's at for sure. Because everybody's real good in it. And I can't think of her name. That's what I was looking at. What her name was or is, the actress that's in it.
No idea.
Television program. It's right here. Lauren Ambrose. That's what her name is. She is real good and real fucking creepy. She's just like, cause she's the mother of the baby, and she just has like, she plays it so well because she literally plays like she doesn't know it's not real, but she also knows that it's not real. That doesn't make any sense.
Not really.
She, to herself, she knows it's not real, but she acts around everybody else like it is real. Just watch it, you'll understand what I mean. It's a hard thing to explain without saying certain things. Try not to spoil stuff, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be normal Cody and just blurt out, oh, he was dead the entire time. Because, you know, I would do that. I wasn't thinking about it. Done it before, I'd do it again.
So there was one more thing I wanted to talk that we'll talk about in a second, because an article from Hollywood Reporter just came out about the Jupiter's Legacy cancellation, and it says that according to Nielsen streaming charts, it was the #1 Netflix show, according to Nielsen. The ratings for May 3rd through 9th come a day after Mark Miller announced the show won't go forward. It says, so Jupiter's Legacy was the top original series on Netflix for its premiere week, according to Nielsen's.
So either Netflix numbers are down in general, or they expected that show to pull in more people than it did. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So they probably had a number say, hey, this is how many people we need to watch this show. And yes, it can be #1, but if there's like, we'll just use numbers. If there's 1,000 people watching, but we need 10,000 people, you know what I mean? The 1,000 people sounds great because it's a really high number, but it's obviously a tenth of what we want and what we need, I guess you could say. Need, whatever that means for Netflix. And it never got that number, even though it was the most watched show for that week.
So they break it down a little bit more here.
Okay.
So again, this is just going to be the Hollywood Reporter's kind of word-for-word thing. So the adaptation of Mark Miller's superhero comic pulled in 696 million minutes of viewing time in the week of May 3rd to 9th, which is, it was its premiere week, May 7th. It premiered on May 7th. Edging out Hulu's The Handmaid's Tale, which was 690 million, for the #1 ranking among original series on Netflix, Hulu, Amazon's Prime Video, and Disney+. The release of the rankings comes a day after Miller and Netflix announced Jupiter's Legacy was done at the streamer. Netflix, which acquired... okay, we don't need to go into that. The next paragraph is the 696 million minutes of watch time for Jupiter's Legacy is slightly below the Netflix's last big series, Shadow and Bone. That show had 721 million minutes for its first week, then grew to 1.19 billion for the full week of April 26th through May 2nd, and then slipped to 555 million for May 3rd to 9th. And there's a bunch more there of different series and their breakdowns as well, but that kind of makes it sound like that they probably pulled in big numbers for the first week and then slowly saw a drop-off after that.
Yeah. So they didn't get the boost they were hoping to, like they did on some other things, it sounds.
Yeah. I'll have to finish reading the rest of the article. It lists a lot of... I didn't realize that Nielsen measures streaming in minutes.
I think they have to because it's hard to say... they may not have, because they don't have set-top boxes to
actually measure how long somebody watches a show.
Yeah, because their numbers are skewed anyways, because the Nielsen boxes measure a household and how many people are supposed to be in that household. Mm-hmm. But I will tell you right now, if you did that at like, you know, a house that had a mom, a dad, and like a daughter and a son, I guarantee you not all of them are watching the news, but yet Nielsen would probably say all 4 of those people were watching the news because the box was on the news.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's weird. So minutes makes sense in a streaming platform because you don't have set-top boxes to monitor, I guess, would be the way to put it.
I guess maybe you didn't measure minutes. I guess you just, they watched this.
Yeah, so I mean, if you
record how long they watched it, they just watched it. Where here is they could be like, they watched 10 minutes of it. They watched 20 minutes. This person watched 30 minutes of the episode.
Well, here's a movie. I'm looking at that same article I found what you're looking at. Movie-wise, for the week of May 3rd through the 9th, just to give an example. So the reason I'm doing this versus like TV shows is because movies we can kind of do math on and see how many people actually watched it. If it went by whole numbers, obviously, not by like, oh, this person watched it for 10 minutes. That doesn't really do me any good. Mitchell's versus the Machines, which is the new animated movie bought up by Netflix due to the pandemic, from the creators of the Lego movie, I believe is who it is, was listed at 853 million minutes. So the question is, how long is that movie? Let's find out, shall we? Mitchell's. I spelled Mitchell's wrong because I don't know how to type.
Mitchell's versus the Machines. Without Remorse came in second with 568 million. Madagascar 3, which was that something that was released this year?
No, that's the thing, is like, this is their top movies for that week. For that week, yeah.
That's what it's weird to see Madagascar 3 there, and not something newer. Things Heard and Seen came in 4th. Love Happens 5th. Green Zone 6th. Moana 7th. Scarface, Jesus Christ. It was 8. The Clovich Killer is 9, and Your Highness was 10. It's a really weird set of movies to have there for the top 10 of that week.
So basically, the Mitchells versus the Machines, roughly, mind you, had 7.8 million people watch it. Accounts watch it, I should say.
Wow.
If we go by that number, you know what I mean? Like, that's how many times the movie was watched. Because it's 109 minutes long at 853 million minutes. That's 7.825 million views of the movie.
I wonder, does that include rewatches? Like, if I just watched and watched a show, does that count as towards this?
I think yes, because this doesn't, and nowhere in this article, as I zoomed over it, does it say single user, like, or single watch numbers. You know what I mean? It could be, because for example, like the Falcon and Winter Soldier, right?
Yeah.
And their TV shows, 204 million minutes were watched, right? That could be someone rewatching it with a friend. That, you know what I mean? Like, they've already watched it. Does that count? Because things like, where was the one I saw under original series? Handmaid's Tale. They don't have a new season out yet, and there's 690 million. It's the number 2 that week on Hulu, or from, not on Hulu, but from Hulu. So that's just behind Jupiter's Legacy, which is a brand new show. So, you know, that's obviously, there's more content to watch on Handmaid's Tale. There could be people catching up. There could be people watching it for the first time. There could be people catching up on a new season, whatever it happens to be. We don't know because it doesn't say that, because it doesn't put here. The only thing we have is original streaming films are marked with asterisk on there, so we know which is original versus like a movie that's on there. For example, like the movies you were talking about, Madagascar 3 is not an original movie for that platform, for Netflix, because it was out in theaters many years ago at this point. But looking at this list, though, 1, 2, 3, 3 of the 10 are original content for a streaming platform. 2 being Netflix, 1 being Amazon Prime. The rest, Scarface on Netflix is somehow the number 8 on streaming platforms because enough people watched it. Well, 180 or 138 million people watched Scarface on Netflix in that week to make it that popular, which is mind-blowing. Not that it's not a good movie. It's just weird that that's what's high on that list of all the stuff that you could watch on Netflix. That's the fucking movie you're watching.
Right? I wonder if there's a trigger for it.
170 minutes.
That's how long Scarface is?
Yeah. So that's 811,000 people. So obviously the number difference is drastic. Yeah. The movie's obviously longer, but the numbers are different. I mean, 138 million versus 853 million. But you look at the numbers, clearly Netflix is going to want more stuff like The Mitchells versus the Machines, because clearly more people are watching that as a new thing versus, I mean, you could probably do the numbers on Netflix alone on these. Madagascar 3 is on Netflix. Things Heard and Seen, Love Happens, Green Zone, Scarface, and Your Highness, all on Netflix, obviously dominating the streaming platform for movies, million of watch-wise, because the Disney's on there, once, and Hulu's on there twice.
And Amazon's on once.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously Netflix is, by this week alone, these numbers are telling me that Netflix obviously does a lot better watching than a lot of other platforms. So, I mean, that's clear at that point. But, I mean, you look at the Acquired series, which is an interesting one because these are all on Netflix. I just realized that. So you have, like, Grey's Anatomy, obviously not their own show, and it's not new. It's still currently on TV, and I don't even know what seasons are on there. 733 million minutes were watched. That clearly is taking away from people viewing newer content, like Jupiter's Legacy. And these numbers, I mean, what's crazy about this too is I'm not going to add these numbers up because that's fucking bonkers. But I mean, the top 3 shows are over 2 billion minutes watched on Netflix, and they're it's funny, they're all CBS shows. That I don't know. Grey's Anatomy is ABC, right? No, wait, is it NBC? I don't know. Whatever. No, but just looking at those 3, the top 3, 733 million minutes, 721 million minutes, 658 million minutes. Criminal Minds on Netflix had almost as many people watching it as Jupiter's Legacy did, and it's a brand new fucking show. Granted, the problem with those numbers to me is comfort in watching a show like Criminal Minds.
Right.
That is something you can pick up and watch whenever because it's a Monster of the Week type show. Netflix Jupiter's Legacy is obviously a narrative show that you can't just watch episode 3 and episode 6 and be fine because if you've never seen any of it, you'd be real fucking confused on what's happening, especially if you watch 3 and 6 only because all of a sudden they're back in the 1930s or whatever. You're like, well, this makes no sense to me. But I mean, also Jupiter's Legacy is not a show for everyone. I'm not defending Jupiter's Legacy saying that it should have been canceled or put on hiatus or whatever the other article I saw said. Doesn't matter. It's that kind of content is not for everyone, and I will guarantee you, and these numbers obviously dictate it, there are more people interested in watching Criminal Minds reruns than new superhero content, especially superhero content that has bad language and violence in it. Yeah, because that's can't. Be a given. Yeah, you know what I mean. It's not like you're like The Boys aren't coming out with fucking a billion viewers.
How this would stack up to The Boys? I was going to say that exactly because that's the demographic you're going after. Yeah, right there. It's the superhero genre, but more adult.
Yes.
That's The Boys are exactly the show that you would be directly compared to, and that's in its about to release its third season now. So I wonder what its streaming numbers, or its streaming minutes are for at least its first week of release, because that's all really that we're showing here is just the first week.
I would want to see Jupiter's Legacy's second week numbers, because obviously Shadow and Bone,
because they mentioned Shadow and Bone jumped up to what was it,
over $1 billion, right?
Something billion. Where was it? 1.19 billion for the full week of April 26th to May 2nd.
So obviously,
because that's another good point. If you're only measuring it, that's the number of minutes per week. Well, your opening week is usually Thursday, Friday. So you got Thursday, Friday, Saturday at the very most to get into that week before you get into the next week, where you have a whole entire week to actually get more numbers.
Well, they're saying the date. Well, no, that doesn't make any sense. Wait a minute. The 3rd through the 9th, that's not even a full week. Am I dumb?
Yeah, 6 days, isn't it?
Well, unless you're counting 3, 4, 5, 6.
Well,
7,
yeah.
8. Okay, no.
Yeah, so
you're counting the full. Okay, so it's still a week, yeah, but it's still
the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th.
Yeah, okay, I get it. Yeah, so you're not doing box office type number where you're saying your opening weekend is Thursday night, Friday day, or Friday all day, all night, Saturday all day, all night, Sunday all day, all night, that kind of number. This is literally saying their first week, so this Friday to this Friday, this is how many minutes were viewed. I would like to see. I mean,
is that how it is?
It would have to be.
Was May 3rd a?
May 3rd was the Friday, I believe. Oh, never mind. It was a Monday. What day did it come out on?
May 3rd would be the Monday. It released on May 7th. So that's what I'm saying is, if those numbers literally just account for 2 days. If it released exactly on May 7th, and I say if because I don't.
It was midnight.
I don't know if it released because we all know how Amazon likes to say it's available Friday and then it actually releases Thursday
afternoon. Yeah.
So if it is released exactly Friday, its release period only accounts for exactly 3 days. Sorry, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday before it rolls over into the next week.
Well, that's weird. I mean, to me, that sounds like a really good amount of fucking views then.
Right. So what happened afterwards?
Huh, that's very strange. Nielsen's not helping us figure that out because...
No, not at all. Because that does sound like a very strong opening then for a series. But at what point, do you cancel a show? It's either not doing very well in the ratings, or you had some other behind the scene thing that you just can't do it going forward.
Yeah, I wonder if
know what that would be.
It can't be cost versus anything else, because I would almost venture to say Shadow and Bone cost more than Jupiter's Legacy for a season.
Likely. Because
there's a lot of practical stuff done on Jupiter's Legacy with physical people, because you can see wire stunts and stuff like that. Yeah. But with Shadow and Bone, I've only watched the first season, but with Shadow and Bone, there's a whole CG environment with a fucking sand boat that goes through with CG monsters attacking people. And some of them were wire tricks because you could see that they were holding them up in the air and they weren't moving like they should be. But that's whatever. But I would almost venture to say the cast alone would cost more, because it's a huge cast. Using that first episode. And I say that because Jupiter's Legacy, your cast of speaking lines pales in comparison. Shadow and Bone has Game of Thrones amount of people in it. And one of their biggest star, Ben Barnes, a la from Westworld fame, his ass isn't even seen in the first episode except for literally the back of him. You don't see his face. You don't even hear him talk, I don't think, if I remember correctly. You just see him, his character, might not be him on camera, might be someone wearing a cloak and dark hair, walk in front of the camera and stand there ominously looking on into this storm. And I'm like, Ben Barnes even in this first episode. Where's Ben Barnes? I'm here for Ben Barnes. Where's Ben Barnes at? But I guarantee you that first season costs more to make. And, I mean, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird to me that I don't get to see more of Jupiter's Legacy on the television. As of right now, maybe Stephen the Knight's the problem because he has a lot of shit been canceled on him. I'm not going to name any names, but he was removed. Wasn't he? He took over for Daredevil on Daredevil, right?
I don't remember.
He's been all over the place. But he's also the dude behind Spartacus. He also was the dude behind the second Pacific Rim movie. Was it?
What you're basically saying is fate just doesn't like him.
No, not really. He's had a lot of projects that aren't exactly the bee's knees, as some would say. Why is this not... Oh, my phone is not doing its thing right now.
Your phone's not phoning? That reminds me, though, I was wondering what the reviews were for the show, and it didn't get very good critics reviews, and its actual user reviews were, at least according to Rotten Tomatoes, its critical review is 38%, and its audience score is only 72%, so it's not exactly scoring extremely high. I wonder what was it, Metacritic?
Yeah. Where Stephen S. Tonight. There it is. My phone's now doing its thing like it's supposed to. His career. He has done things. His only directorial movie is Pacific Rim Uprising, the second movie. Which by far obviously pales in comparison to the first one because the first one was a fucking masterpiece. Wrote and directed on Angel. He wrote on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Wrote and directed some of Smallville, Dollhouse. It was Daredevil that he did. And he did show running. He only he only directed and he only wrote 2 episodes of Jupiter's Legacy, but he was the showrunner. Which means he's the man in charge. So, I mean, we could say it's his fault. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, I mean, whatever.
And according to Metacritic, it's got about the same score. Critical reviews, about 45, and users, 7.1. So, about the same as Rotten Tomatoes. So, I don't know. Maybe that's the thing. It just didn't score very well with critics,
I guess. I mean, if that's what you want to go by.
I don't know. I have a feeling that in the next couple weeks we'll probably find out more about why it was canceled.
Yeah. Oh, no. Okay. Well, it's definitely not hiatus according to what I just saw here. Will not be ongoing series as the cast has been released. So they are free to go do other things because they don't have a job there anymore.
That sucks. It was a really good cast.
There's a quote here from Mark Miller says that they will return to it later. Whatever the fuck that means.
Right?
It's just depressing because it's like... It's such a good story, and I mean, I think the decision to change the path of the story and how it's told, I think actually really did hinder that show a lot because it made for very jumbled storytelling. Yes. Where if you just would have done it in the order it was not released, you don't have to do that because obviously there's a lot more, but you should have done it in a more a more straight on storytelling. It should have started back in the day. They should have gone to the island. They should have come out as superheroes, and then you can do the other shit. And I understand why they did it, because they needed to, spoil alert for a show you're not going to ever watch again. They needed to set up the whole, villain of it being who it is, or who they tell you it is, and then obviously showing you who it actually is. When they say huge cliffhanger, I'm thinking, that's not really a cliffhanger, fellas. They told you who the bad guy is. We don't know why he's a bad guy yet, other than the fact that he's always been jealous of his brother.
Yeah.
But that's not really a cliffhanger, other than what's going to happen next. But that's how fucking shows happen, is they go, hey, tune in next season to figure out what the fuck happens, you know what I mean? Right. The real cliffhanger to me is, where the fuck is, what's-his-face at Skyfox? Because if he's the one that went rogue, then, where the fuck he at? Yep. Anywho. Yeah, no, that's depressing, and it makes me very sad.
Right.
Netflix does this, and I hate them, but I love them at the same time.
So, speaking of other Netflix shows that you kind of hate and love at the same time.
Yes.
The Army of the Dead.
Okay. I'm listening.
What was your take on that movie?
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was fucked up. But I mean, I'm in for the, the bizarre, especially with Zach. I let him fucking do what he wishes and do what he wants, I really should say. But I liked it a lot, and I can't wait for the more we're getting from it, hopefully.
So you think or you know that they're doing more with it?
I know they're doing more with it. They have an animated, I think it's an animated movie they're doing, which is the Fall of Vegas, which happens to do with like a lot of the army and stuff that's in there, which I do believe that's the one that Joe Manganiello is part of as a voice in it. And then they're doing the dude that played the safecracker, whose name I cannot pronounce, so I'm not going to try, in the movie, or the actor. He's actually directing and co-wrote, if I'm not mistaken, the origin of the bank vault and that character becoming a safecracker. I think that's what I read about it. And then
really weird concept of a movie.
Yeah, I know, it's fucking, who knows? Because I guess he had an idea to flush out the character more, and like he loved I don't know. It was weird. It was this article I heard, and then like Zach talked about it on one of the many things he's been doing lately. And then obviously, if you've seen the movie, spoiler alert, they leave it open for a sequel because someone, I'm not gonna say who it is, it's not Dave Bautista, is bitten, and they're not dead yet, and they leave Vegas before Vegas gets nuked, and they are going to another place that is, and I think in my mind, is very highly populated, which is Mexico. Actually, that's where he's going, is somewhere in Mexico on that plane.
Wasn't it Albuquerque? Yeah,
something like that. I don't know. I can't remember where it was. He was headed. He was headed somewhere where like that shit's gonna fucking like pop off again. That is not remotely like in a desert somewhere. But yeah, that's what happens at the end of it. What do you think?
My enjoyment of the movie waned over time. I really liked it at the beginning, the way that they were setting things up, the way it was gorgeously shot. I was really intrigued by. Now, I before watching the movie, I had seen some articles about it, hadn't read anything about it, but I'd seen some articles of like, there are UFOs in this movie. And I was like, okay, so I guess, be kind of on the lookout for UFOs. That's like 30 seconds into the movie where I just see something shoot across the night sky, and I was like, wait, what? Pause, rewind, play. Oh yeah, holy shit, there are two lights that just go shooting across the sky. I wonder where this is going. And then it never shows up again throughout the whole entire movie. I can only assume that the zombies are some sort of alien experiment or something like that, or some sort of alien virus, because they did have like a very blue glowiness to them in their blood, and well, some of them did in their blood and eyes. I think it was just like the alphas did. none of the rest of the walkers, I think, as they called the rest of them were.
Shamblers, I believe. Yeah.
Shamblers, that's what it was. Shamblers, which was perfectly cool because that sets up like this movie wasn't about figuring out where the zombies came from or how they worked and whatnot. It was just about a heist movie. So I was perfectly fine with that being an added little detail that you don't explain. But where things started going downhill for me, he puts the team together, and his daughter wants to go into the place, and by I say Dave Bautista,
Yeah.
And he's like, no. I'm like, oh, cool. We're not going to do that trope. And then suddenly MacGuffin happens, and now she's a part of the team. I'm like, well, cool. So she's going to end up getting half the team killed because that's what her character does. That's what this stereotypical character does. And then, of course, they also add in henchman number one. You know, the lead henchman of the dude running the thing, and it's like, well, of course he's going to fuck something up and get a bunch of people killed, and of course he does. So I just hated, like, it started out so well, and it just devolved into stupid tropes that we've seen before. It made me enjoy it so much less.
I get that. I understand that.
Even the ending, where it's like the one guy makes it out, and you find out that he's been bitten. It's like, well, it's like every zombie movie that you've ever seen, right? That somebody ended up getting bitten and hit it, and then just continues on and ends up spreading the infection everywhere. I was like, it just wasn't enjoyable. There's all the characters themselves were so enjoyable and so awesome, except for Batista's daughter. Just from the get-go, if she just would have stayed at camp, it would have been, her story would have been a much better story, but she didn't, and she became the one that basically kills half the group. So I didn't really care for her character at all. She could die for all I cared by the end of the movie. Honestly, the characters that I ended up really liking the most, oddly enough, were the YouTuber, because he just was what he was.
Yep.
The helicopter pilot was just snarky as shit, and I loved her. And the coyote was played so fucking well by what's her name, and I'm spacing out on her name right now. But all the acting was really well done. The characters were so much fun. I was hoping that like the majority of those characters would survive, so that if we did get a sequel of anything, those characters would show up. It would be awesome. But through just those stereotypical things, the whole entire crew basically gets wiped out. I was just like, well, this is dumb. That's my rant.
I get you. I still enjoy it. But I mean, I also, don't care about certain things. But I agree with you. A lot of it, the daughter part was like, I was like, why would you not just knock her out? You know what I mean? If you would have to me, if like he should have never let her go at all with them. Like that's just literally a recipe for disaster. If she would have snuck in and he found out, okay, whatever, that's a little better. But I mean, he let her go in. I'm like, bro, she's gonna cause problems.
Yes, and she does.
Yeah. I was like, all right, well, that's not the best way of doing it, but to each their own, I guess. I still enjoyed the movie for what it was, because I think it was ridiculous. But I do understand all your points, and they're very valid points. I'm not saying you're incorrect by it at all. It just didn't deter me from enjoying the movie. So,
well, definitely. It's just that my biggest thing is that I would have expected more. That's it.
Yeah,
I would have hoped for more, and I want filmmakers to just not do this stuff. Like, I get it it's just an easy way to create tension and conflict without having to come up with something else. But come on, guys, come up with something else. You know, something.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff was really interesting. Where the coyote girl, walks in and where she's like, no, we do have to take that one guy with us. Trust me, this will be like, we need an extra person. And then she ends up shooting the dude in the leg and giving him up as an offering to the alpha or the queen zombie. I was like, well, that's
fucked up.
Fucking cool. That's fucked up. But
yeah,
like, dude, the dude was an asshole, like a stereotypical.
Yeah,
asshole.
He definitely deserved what he got for sure.
But that's what I'm saying is like, I hadn't seen that type of thing in a zombie movie. That was a cool thing to see, that, she recognizes them as being, at least some of them being sentient enough to have order and to accept a sacrifice that would allow the team to go in relatively unmolested. And it's like, that's an interesting concept. That's a really cool idea. And then you just did all these other ideas that have been played out so many other times. Like, I don't know. It sounds like a cool idea as a heist movie, and if you just stuck to a heist movie and the stuff that you'd have to do to Ocean's 11 yourself into a zombie, casino, I think just coming up with different things would have been better. That's all.
I get you. I feel you.
Yeah. Anyway. That's it. That's all I got.
Okay. Sounds good to me. We have made our hour, so I mean that works out pretty well. Yeah, that's that. That's the wrong button. I don't know how to work computers, apparently. There we go. Screens are back. There we go. I can push buttons. But yeah, that's it for this week's episode of Comes Naturally. We have been
Joe.
And I'm Cody. And as usual, you fuckers just came naturally.
Bye.